Hey guys, what is going on? It's Clay from Team Megaflare here, hooking you up with one of the best old school decks in Gishki Hieratics. The deck has evolved due to the ban list, but it lost some type of consistency in upstarts and chicken game, but the deck is still strong, and also it's more budget friendly for you guys. Before, this used to be a really expensive card now, but they've been printing gold rare, so this deck is more accessible for your everyday budget player. So right before we get to the video, give this video a thumbs up and go ahead to subscribe to our channel. Let's go ahead and get started. For the ritual monster, one Gust Kraken. You can only run one since it's limited. This essentially lets you look at 2 random cards when it's summoned and shuffle one back. So it's really strong essentially. One copy of Mine August. She is pretty strong as well. She shuffles back cards from the grave to either your deck or your opponent's deck. It's up to 5 cards, so that is always really strong in the format. And she is a 2500 beater, so she is pretty standard. Your standard beater. For your straddles of the deck, you run 3 copies of Abyss. Abyss essentially searches out all your Gishki monsters, and it's just, what can you say when it's not once per turn? This essentially is really straddles, since you can just keep on looping it over and over again. You can get Gishki Abyss effect off twice because of 1-for-1, special summoning Botanical Princess, so you can essentially get 2 searches with this deck at the most. So I don't understand why straddles is banned when you have cards like Gishki Abyss that isn't once per turn. 3 copies of Shadow. This is your entire tribute for your Gishki monsters, as well as you can pitch it to search out a Gishki Shadow spell. I mean a Gishki Ritual spell. You essentially don't use it for its tribute effect because you're playing Heratics in there, and you want to be tributing your Heratics, so you can summon your Ritual monsters to get their effects off. But sometimes it does come up. 2 copies of Vision. Essentially, just because you only run 2 Ritual monsters, it can become dead if you run 3. So it's just good too for this format. 2 copies of Botanical Princess. She essentially searches out your straddles. You can essentially summon her, banish her, special summon the Abyss from your deck, and it's pretty good since you get the search off. That covers the Gishki engine pretty much of the deck. For the Heralic engine, I run 3 copies of Tefnuit, 3 copies of Sue, and 2 copies of Labradite Dragon. Tefnuit is essentially Cyber Dragon of the deck, and pretty much when you tribute your Heralic monsters, you can special summon your Labradite Dragon now, and you can just keep on looping with this. So this is essentially really strong. It has a lot of synergy with your ritual monsters. 3 copies of Sue. This essentially does the same thing as Tefnuit. It's just not it isn't a Cyber Dragon. 2 copies of Labradite Dragon just because you really need it. And then the last 2 monsters is just double Veiler, just because I feel like this is the strongest hand trap in the game at this current state. And then onto the spells, I run 3 copies of Alchemir just because you kind of have to. You can essentially recycle your Alchemirs. I mean, you essentially want to see your Alchemirs just because it allows you to recycle your ritual monsters. 3 copies of Heralic Seal of Convocation. This essentially search out your Heralic monsters. 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Noden did go to 1, which is kind of sad, but thankfully because of Ptolemy M7, you can always just put your Noden back into your deck. For the 1-ofs, 1-for-1, just because it allows you to get to your Botanical Princess, which is really strong, essentially getting you to Gishki Abyss, as well as the reason I run Effect Veilers more than anything is because I can also 1-for-1 into an Effect Veiler and then go into a synchro play. 1 copy of Preparation of Rites. It's just a strong card. If this ever go up to 3, this deck is probably going to be broken. 1 copy of Galaxy Cyclone. I prefer this over Twin Twister just because I just feel like it's a stronger card as a 1-of. I don't really want to be discarding my cards in this type of deck. 1 copy of Salvage. I was testing this out at 2, but sometimes this would essentially be dead, so I just prefer it as a one of. One copy of Raigeki just because it's Raigeki. Nothing much to say about that. One copy of Upstart Goblin. Upstart is pretty strong as well. Oh, let's see. And then the other draw card is 1 day apiece. It was behind here. I was wondering why. I couldn't find it. So essentially, this is all your spells. For the only traps you run, it's just 3 copies of Reckless Greed because you need to get to your combo pieces essentially. That is the main deck. For the extra deck, you run 3 copies of Ptolemy M7s. This essentially allows you to loop as well as bounce cards your opponent control, but you essentially just trying to add your Heralic monster back into your hand. Use Aquamirror effect to shuffle the Aquamirror back to add your ritual monster. And if you have a Gishki Shadow in hand, you just pitch the shadow to search out the ritual spell. So you can just keep on looping with it. For the other rank 6 I chose to play, I chose Goblin Launcher, Photon Strike Bouncer, and number 72 Shogi Rock, just because I felt like they were pretty strong. For the only rank 4s I run is 1 Castell and 1 Dweller. These are the best stable rank 4s you can possibly play. 1 copy of Ultimate Zoken. 1 copy of Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Trees. 2 copies of Bezos. I just feel like Bezos is a strong card. It's easy to make in this deck. 1 Starter Spark Dragon, and then 1 Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, just because I don't have clearing and I don't feel like playing clearing. I don't feel like paying for clearing. But if you have clearing, I would run clearing instead. And then the 1 copy of Node. This essentially is the entire deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry I'm rushing things, but I have somewhere to be. I'm sorry about that, guys. And also, like I said, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for future content. Appreciate it, guys. Signing out.